Okay, good evening, everyone. Wesley, would you please close that back door for me, please, sir? Let the record reflect that it's now 7:30 p.m. and I'm going to be calling the regularly scheduled business meeting for the Village of Broadview to order at this time. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Abraham? Here. Trustee Benson? Present. Trustee Harvey is absent. President Jones?
Present.
Trustee McGreer?
Here.
Trustee Moore?
Here.
Trustee Brown Marino? Here. May we all stand for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we all have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Item number 2, public comment.
Marquita Smith.
Good evening, everyone. First question, on foreclosed property, are we posting signs to let the neighbors know that that property has been abandoned or foreclosed? And the reason why I'm asking is a home at 2320 on 9th Avenue has got weeds and everything in front of it. So I was just wondering if we are still posting any signage to let you guys know too that you need to keep the property out pretty much.
Okay.
And on the corner of 13th and 18th, I do know that property has been foreclosed. A fourth of it is being kept up, the other portion of it is not.
13th Avenue or 13th Street?
13th, 18th, 13th Avenue.
At 18th Street,
18th
by the Park District?
Right.
Okay.
And one more quick question. Business cards for your authority to spend funds. You have business cards for $1854.91. What kind of business cards and how many? Can you elaborate on that PO, please? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Smith. John Ely.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir, Mr. Ely.
I don't usually come and comment on the doings of the board. I don't ask questions, but some of the things that have been happening lately concern me. I've been informed that there's several petitions being circulated regarding the water bond issue. I've been told that the information that was included in the most recent newsletter was not prepared by our financial people with the village. The numbers just materialized out of thin air, and therefore they're incorrect. And I'm very concerned about my water bill in the future. Would you care to elaborate on any of all of that and put everybody's mind at ease about the issue?
We will be elaborating on that. Okay? I'm sure that somebody else is going to come over there. Is that it, John? All right, we're going to talk about that. Gwen Turner.
I'm picking back off of this young man. I don't appreciate getting phone calls 3 or 4 times a day from Judy Brown Marino talking about the water bill, blah, blah, blah. I want to know is it illegal for a trustee to be doing a robocall about something that was discussed at the last meeting, or should we discuss at the meeting? To me, that's inconsiderate. And you get 3 or 4 calls about the same thing, and you get, oh, so it's a signed petition. I don't like that. That's messy.
Thank you, Gwen. No, you cannot. Robert Hills.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Hills. And my concern about my water bill, the last 2 years have been fluctuating from $20 to $30 a month. Last month, it was $28. This month, $98. And I would like to know if an adjustment could be made or somebody can look into it other than just collect the bill.
Okay. Doreen Gordon.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I, too, do not like those phone calls, and I wonder how Trustee Brown Marino is paying for that, because has she suddenly come into a great deal of funds to pay for this, because being a trustee does not generate that much income. And possibly you have a leak at your home, because I know I have a slight drip in my water faucet. My water's gone out, too. So anyways, I do not like all those phone calls, and I would hope that they would cease and desist. And that incorrect information is being put out there in front of the public that is erroneous and should not be decimated in the manner in which it is being.
Okay. Thank you. Most of your comments will be addressed at some point in time this evening, to the best of my ability. We will go on with the regularly scheduled board meeting as presented on the agenda for tonight. Madam Clerk?
Item number 3, consideration to approve the following minutes. August 6, 2012, regular business meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
This case has been properly motioned by trustee Abraham and properly seconded by trustee McGreer to approve the minutes. Do I have any questions or comments from the board, starting at my left? Trustee Marino.
No. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I did have one on the Prairie concrete orders. It said in the invoice that it was various 2012 properties, and I'd like to get a list of those properties.
I'm sure that we have a list on hand. That's not a problem. But
So-
what does that have to do with the minutes?
I'm
I mean, with the minutes accurate, we're talking about the minutes.
sorry. No comment.
Okay, no comment on the minutes. All right. Trustee Morris.
None.
Trustee McGreer.
None.
Trustee Benson.
None.
And trustee Abraham.
None.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none, those minutes are passed unanimously. Madam Clerk?
Item number 4, consideration to approve the expenditures, grand total all funds, $189,746.26.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Probably motion by trustee Morris, probably second by trustee Abraham to approve these expenditures. May I have a report from the Finance Committee?
Yes, sir. We have a short list today. Avalon Petroleum, $9,990. Bank of Mellon Trust, $50,000. Broadview Police Pension, $3,726.74. Geno's Plumbing, $54,142. Officer Phil Finaro, $25,829.63. Michael R. Connolly, $2,950. Prairie Materials, $3,974.09, and Tesla Associates, $4,626.25, which is a total of $155,238.71, which is 82% of the grand total.
Thank you very much. Trustee Brown Marino, questions or comments?
So how do I go about getting the list of the 2012 properties for Prairie? Because the new procedure is I have to request them through you, and everything I've requested you.
This is the first I heard about it was tonight.
It's the first that you're hearing about this, but everything else that I've requested you've ignored.
We're talking about the bills right now. Let's get the bills straight so we can move on.
Then I am asking you here that I would like a copy of the...
So noted.
Thank you.
Trustee Morris?
No.
Trustee McGreer?
No questions.
Trustee Benson?
None.
Trustee Abraham?
None, sir.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Benson?
Yes.
Trustee Harris is absent. Trustee McGreer?
Yes.
Trustee Morris?
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Yes.
Okay, and the motion to pay the bills passes unanimously also.
Item number 5, report of the village officers, Commissioner David Upshaw, Building Department.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The monthly report for July 2012 is as follows. 82 permits were issued. We had 23 Title 13 inspections. The Title 13 inspections deal with the purchase and sale of property, whether it be residential, commercial, or industrial, in the village of Broadview. What we're noticing right now in the building department is that we have a lot of property being purchased by investors, and they are doing what we call in the industry is called flipping. You buy it low, and you rehab it, or renovate it for a little while, and you sell it. We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of investors that don't live in Broadview, don't live in the community, that are purchasing property in Broadview, as well as foreclosures, and they're flipping those properties, making anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 per property. So we're seeing properties come up for resale that maybe they purchased anywhere from 3 to 6 months ago. Also, a couple things that I saw last month pertaining to properties, which I had never seen, is that we had 4 properties where the bank bought the property and actually paid the residents to relocate. One was $6,500, one was for $4,000, and the other one was for $8,500. So I thought that I had never seen that. They actually purchased their home and paid for them to relocate. That being said, in our last bulletin that was sent out to the residents, there's a lot of information about foreclosures, foreclosure information, foreclosure assistance. Please, if you don't have that bulletin or you need some additional information, feel free to call the building department because I still am convinced that you can stay in your home. All is not lost. I mean, the people that we've seen come to the building department, some of the notices that we're getting is that the banks are asking the residents for assistance to help them stay in their home. They really don't, they're not in the business of collecting properties. We had 42 contractor registrations, 9 garage sales, 4 business licenses. We had 6 complaint tickets issued as well as $1,400 collected. We had 27 complaints. The complaints dealt with high grass, landlord neglect, property management, vacant property, and abandoned property. Again, I don't know if some of the residents feel hopeless. I don't know if they've exhausted out all their options. I don't even know if they're aware of what their options are before they just walk away from their home. I'd probably say there were, last month, there were 6 homes that people just walked away from. They just abandoned the house. It's in the foreclosure process. That means it hasn't been foreclosed on. Right now, the foreclosure process is taking about a year in the state of Illinois. And the banks are trying to work with the residents, are working with homeowners. So just be aware that the banks really don't want your property. I mean, if in fact the property is foreclosed on, that's the last and it's an extreme measure. I get calls every day about banks looking for individuals, trying to find out who owns this property. They're calling me instead of me calling them. Abandoned properties, the same thing. Abandoned properties, we have quite a few properties in Broadview. When I say they're abandoned, that means they've been foreclosed on. And when banks or investors, they buy a book of properties. It can be a couple hundred properties, but it's a bundle of properties, and they just sell them to each other. And you're buying those bundles. Right now, I'm in the process of trying to identify who owns certain properties. Because as soon as you find out that Wells Fargo or Chase own the property, and then when you start doing the research in terms of title, you find out that that bundle of properties has been sold to another bank or another investor. And lastly, I'd like to thank the residents for providing me with information. I know the police chief talked about neighborhood watch. I know the trustees have talked about neighborhood watch. And I've been getting calls and information about abandoned property, about suspicious activities, about contractors that don't have permits. And I'd like to thank the residents who have been providing me with that information. I greatly appreciate it, and I thank you. And I want to make a public thank you to Gwen, Ms. Turner, who has been diligent in providing me with information as she's out walking her dog in the evening or in the early morning, and she sees things that I don't see. So I greatly appreciate it. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Upshaw.
Yeah, one last thing I just wanted to talk about is that we've had, right now we have 3 businesses that have left Broadview that I am aware of. H&R Block, and everybody that's on Roosevelt Road, was on Roosevelt Road. We have Avenue, which was a clothing shop, and we have Wells Fargo. Avenue and clothing and Wells Fargo were located in the mall. As of today, we have new businesses. We have a new insurance company where H&R Block used to be, which is located on Roosevelt Road. We have the Corner Spot Cafe, which just recently opened. Pizza Hut should be one, if in fact the village board approves them, they should be open in the next 30 days. They're finishing up on their renovations, and they have a final inspection coming up this week. O'Reilly's Auto Parts, they're due to open next fall, or I should say next spring. They're due to open next spring. We met with them, and they're going to break ground. It's going to be new construction, and they're going to be located over by Chase Bank. And then we have the Garland Corporation, which is a graphic arts, and they deal with paper products. If the board approves them tonight, they will be moving to Broadview as well. The Broadview Westchester Water Agency, the bids have gone out. Anticipate breaking ground on a brand new water agency building that's located at 10th and Roosevelt. Anticipate them start working on that in September or the fall, September, October. And we've had a couple conversations in terms of bringing new business to Broadview in terms of Roosevelt Road in their court. I don't really want to speak on it at this point in great detail because I think you jinx yourself when it hasn't happened. We're still negotiating the financing and things of that nature. But we have some things that are going on that are exciting in the village of Broadview. If you want to speak to me, feel free to come down to the building department. We're there Monday through Friday. And we work a half a day on Saturday. And I'll be glad to share any information that you'd like. Again, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Upshaw. Questions or comments from the board, starting with Trustee Marino.
Yes, Mr. Upshaw? Where is the Pizza Hut going to be located?
The Pizza Hut is going to be located on 17th, one door over from Chase. Or I'm sorry, one door over
T-Mobile, next to
Starbucks.
T-Mobile's, next to, it's in the Starbucks complex.
Thank you.
What about the Garland project? You mentioned that the Garland business that was coming in.
Did you give me the address for the Garland business?
Garland.
Oh, the Garland, if the board approved, the Garland is going to be located at 2101 West 21st Street.
Okay. Trustee Moore?
But no, I have a comment though. I actually know somebody that the bank did call that was living out here. House got foreclosed on. They called them back to get their house back. So they in the process of renovating the house right now.
Fantastic. Trustee McGreer?
No comments, no questions.
Trustee Benson?
No comment.
Trustee Abraham?
No comment.
Thank you, Mr. Upshaw. Madam Clerk?
Our next village officer, Finance Director Jan Bass, Finance Department.
Good evening, Mayor Jones, board trustees and residents. Okay, financial report for the month of July and the general fund. In the general fund, month of July, we collected $1,597,000 in revenue, and we expended $988,000 in expenses, ending the month with a net surplus of $609,000. Primary revenue sources was $865,000 in property taxes, $238,000 in sales taxes, $114,000 in corporate replacement taxes, $90,000 in various utility taxes, $69,000 in state income taxes, and $10,000 in state use taxes. Other significant collections internally, we collected $8,000 in vehicle license renewal fees. The building department collected $27,000 in permit and inspection activities. The police department generated $36,000 in fines and towing activities, and the fire department generated $60,000 in ambulance and hospital billing fees. Lastly, in the month of, it should be July, sorry about that, typing fast. We also collected $11,000 in insurance and workman's comp reimbursements, and we collected $64,000 in a legal settlement for one of our ongoing litigation activities. We're looking at expenses in the month of July. Labor and benefits makes up 56% of it. But when you look at the other detail, and contractual services, the $172,000, 29 of it was legal and professional service fee invoices. $35,000 was the monthly cost for our general liability insurance. We have $40,000 in various summer street repairs and maintenance expenses, anything from the sidewalk replacement to tree trimming, that's all into that. $6,000 in newsletter publication expenses, and we paid $11,000 in the corporate replacement taxes to the Broadview library. Looking at commodities during July. Our commodities appear to be high, but it primarily is because the Public Works Department purchased $55,000 in salt and ice materials for the upcoming winter season. They purchased it early to take advantage of discount savings. We also, in the month of July, had 2 months worth of gas and oil. On average, it's usually about $15,000 this year. I mean, this month was 31, primarily because of the June invoice arrived late. And lastly, we had about $15,000 in repair and maintenance parts utilized on our various vehicle repairs. In July, we also expended, the fire department acquired a new ambulance for $147,000. This was something that the board budgeted and approved for this year activity at the last meeting. And the funds have already been identified as far as funding source to be the capital portion of the annual rollover fund. On a year-to-date basis, July marks the end of the first quarter of this fiscal year, and our revenues are trending slightly ahead of budget, while our expenses are trending lower than budget. Looking at the revenues, the primary contributor being property taxes, we currently are at 22% of the budget. That's very unusual for us, but that's primarily because of the early distribution of the second installment of the tax returns for 2011. So this month we received 868, and actually month to date in August through today we received another 671,000. So basically 2011 tax collections are right on par. We actually have collected 83% of the total taxes that's been extended to the village. So glad to see everybody's pretty much paying on time and the money's coming in. The other taxes, sales, utility, and use taxes are right in line with the budget. When we look at our income taxes, they're actually slightly higher, and that's because the state is starting to pick up. At one point, it was 6 months behind on disbursements. Now they have paid up, and they're only 2 months behind as far as paying out releasing the funds after they've been identified. On a local basis, all of the departments are trending either ahead or right behind the budget. Looking at our expenses on a year-to-date basis, all our departments seem to be trending close to the budget spending. Other financial issues just to update the board on. The annual financial audit, as you all know, has been going on. This is the 3rd week, which will be ending. They will complete their field work. This week, exit conference has been set up with the mayor and finance committee chair Morris so that they can hear firsthand from the auditors. But with that being said, over the next month, they will complete the draft of the report. And so the report and the annual treasury report should be completed far before the 180-day turnaround, which is October 31st is the state deadline. Lastly, as it relates to back to certain taxes, but in the area of the tips, because Cook County has completed the extension calculations, we now know about the tips. What I've given is a summary of all the tip extensions and the collections that each tip has collected thus far. There is an asterisk if you look on the 17th Avenue tip. The reason being is the first installment of property taxes is based on an estimate. Well, last year, 17 TIF had a increment enhanced taxes, $11,324 and actually 92 cents was actually distributed to us based on the estimate. Now that it has been determined that that TIF actually did not experience increment in 2011, Cook County has contacted us and requested their money back, and we made arrangements to make that payment back to them this week. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Baptist. Questions or comments from the board, starting with Trustee Marino?
No, not about this report.
Okay. Trustee Morris?
No.
Trustee McGreer?
Yes, Ms. Baptist, what again was the amount that needs to be paid back to Cook County?
$11,324.92.
I got you, that's it. Thank you.
Trustee Hargreaves. Let the record reflect that Trustee Hargreaves came to the meeting at 10 minutes to 8. Madam Clerk. Trustee Hargreaves?
No.
Trustee Benson?
None.
Trustee Abraham?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Baptist. Madam Clerk?
Our next village officer, Chief Thomas Gardner, Fire Department.
Meeting Mayor, Village Board, residents.
Good evening.
This is the monthly report for July of 2012 for the Fire Department. Over the past month, we responded to 204 emergency responses. Those calls included one box alarm fire and one car fire. Our contract responses to Loyola Hines and Madden, we responded to 11 fire calls and 15 ambulance calls at the Loyola property for a total of 194 responses so far this year. Hines, 7 ambulance responses for a total of 83 for the year. And Madden, 1 fire alarm and 3 ambulance calls for a total of 24 for the year. Fire Prevention Bureau, Inspector Scott Karstens performed 165 fire inspections, 2 home inspections. Of those, he noted 68 violations. And he did also conduct 2 special inspections. Over the past month, we completed 144 hours of training on various fire and EMS subjects. We've got all our personnel now trained as instructors for CPR. So every employee in the fire department now is a CPR instructor, certified through the Red Cross. We conducted some walkthrough inspections and tours of NPC sealants at 2525 Gardner to get you guys familiar with the new construction going on there. And also did a walkthrough of Chase Products at 2727 on Gardner. Again, it's a familiarization for the firefighters, so they're familiar with the buildings. We try to go out, do a couple buildings each month, so the guys are familiar with the layout of those buildings. Conducting daily fitness training. Guys do a mandatory one hour workout every day now. CPR classes are continuing. We just completed one for the Park District last month for 28 students there. I believe most of those were the summer help. Then we got those done. Been working on the wireless fire alarm project. You'll be hearing more about that hopefully in the coming month. Get the wireless program up and running. DeGuerre and myself conducted a chat with the chiefs at the public library. We had a few people stop by, talk with us, ask us questions. There's an opening. People could come and ask the police chief or the fire chief any questions what's going on, what our departments are doing. We thought that was a pretty good success. We're going to be doing another one of those here in the near future. For our billing information, an ambulance and fire billing, we collected $16,272.69 from PBS, our billing company, for ambulance services with a net collection of $16,272.69. We billed out $9,750 to Loyola Hospital, $8,470 to Hines, and $2,250 for J.J. Madden, for a total of $22,720 for the month of July. We've received $18,833.32 from Loyola Hines and Madden hospitals. glad to report our air conditioning system has been installed and up and running finally for the firehouse, so, which was a rough summer to get through this year, but we survived. But it's a brand new system and it's working really well. So, fire alarm system is installed and all up to code over there now. Looking good. We've got another CPR class coming up September 22nd. It's open to the public, 9 a.m. It's free to any resident. We've been getting good turnouts at those. We're averaging 15 to 20 people every class, so if you're going to plan on attending, call early because they fill up pretty quickly. We also got the new ambulances arrived. We're putting into service right now, getting equipment mounted on it. It's going to go through its state inspection on Wednesday. So we're hoping to have it in service hopefully next week, if everything goes well. After the meeting, we're going to have it outside for people to take a look at it. Feel free. So we'll have it out in the parking lot. So it's a real nice unit. And again, thank you very much, Village Board and residents, for supporting it. It's something that was desperately needed. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Chief. Questions or comments from the board, starting with Trustee Marino?
I don't have any.
Trustee Morris? Trustee McGreer?
Real quick, I think the Chat with the Chiefs is a really good program that should be continued. The attendance wasn't great, but hopefully the next one with the proper notification and all will be well attended. Thank you guys both for that.
Thank you, Trustee McGreer. Trustee Harger?
Can you just give me the date again for the CPR class that's coming up? And then
22nd.
Are there any specifications that people need to have in order to attend the class?
Now, next one's September 22nd. It's a Saturday, 9 a.m. No, there's no specifications. It's open to anyone can take it. Good for babysitters, things of that nature, as young as 13, 14. We get a lot of young kids taking it now. So no, it takes generally about 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Benson?
None.
Trustee Abraham?
Two questions. I know we talked about it before, and you were making public announcements about it. Was the reverse 911 call and the file life, those two programs that you had started. Can you please elaborate how we're moving along with that?
Sure.
Response from our community.
Yeah, the File Life program, for those who haven't heard, it's a free program. We get your medical information on a form, which is kept on a magnet on your refrigerator. So if you're incapacitated, when the paramedics arrive at your house, there's a sticker on your door. They know that information's there. They can go to the refrigerator and get it if you're unable to give it to us. So it helps them out quite a bit with their treatment towards you. So that program's out there. Just stop by the firehouse. We've got all the information there and the materials. You're more than welcome to join that program. And what was the other one? The robocall, reverse 911. Presently, I believe we've got about 3,500 people, or 3,500 numbers in the system. It's a free service. Information gets put out over the reverse 911 system. You can have it sent to your cell phone, your house phone, your email address. Again, I believe there's a link on the website for it for the village, or you can just give the firehouse a call, talk to our administrative assistant, Joanne, and she'll get you put into the system. So again, it's good for emergencies, weather watches, things of that nature. We put out a lot of important information on that. So feel free to join up on that as well.
Thank you very much, Chief Brown. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk?
Our next village officer, Chief Louis Figueroa, Police Department.
Good evening, residents. City President.
Good evening.
The monthly report for the police department for the month of July. As some of you are aware, I've been here now a year. That's my retirement with the Illinois State Police. And throughout this year, we've had challenges in the police department. However, I alone did not overcome those challenges. We as a police department, we as a village, as a ward, as residents together, we overcame the challenges that we had in the police department. And together, we overcame it. We now have a straight direction, a vision, service-oriented, and more importantly, more strategic in what we do and how we deploy our people. board and the residents for their support. We've consolidated divisions. We strategically staff and deploy our personnel much smarter. We are sharing more resources within the agency and outside the agency, so more is internal and external. We established a police accountability session, which we call PACS. Accountability command session. Every month I meet with my command officers and talk about what we've done the previous month and what we're going to do in the month coming on. We've also rescinded, amended policies and procedures. We introduced the bike patrol with partnership of the Park District. We are also involved in the military LISO program, which we get some of these equipment we talked about in the past. And we've made some other operational administrative changes. We will continue to have challenges as we evolve, both as a police department and as a village. I believe together we'll overcome these challenges. And on behalf of the police department, thank you for allowing us to serve you. Now, because of all this information I provided, we put together a crime watch, which is an overview of the village of Broadview, Maywood, Bellwood, and also the 15th District CPD, which is the west side of Chicago. So we could have a better overview on the crime in Broadview compared to the others, and how are we as a police department mitigating, controlling, containing the crime. And every month we will go through these. My command staff will go through this every month to find out where exactly the bar is going and how are we responding to that. As you can see, there's a lot of information in there. I would assume that probably for the next meeting you're going to have questions for me, unless you're a fast reader, you'll have that. But there's information on shots fired calls. Real quick, this is how it looks like.
Should have had that on the overhead.
I was going to put an overview, but this is what it looks like. That's Maywood. We're in the middle of that little island with no shots fired. We only had one or two. So we are controlling, we're mitigating what we're doing within the village of Broadview. Now, unfortunately, this happened on my watch. These are burglaries. We've had burglaries. We've had probably between 8 and 10 burglaries in 2.5 months. Good news, we've arrested 3 individuals. So far, we've had no burglaries. We are still following up on some of the leads on the other burglaries, whether it's commercial or residents. So as your police department involved, we are providing positive outcomes on these unfortunate situations. The other part of what they're going to observe is that crime has increased in Broadview. But I believe I indicated that in my September 19th presentation to the board, that we as a department were inaccurately reporting crime because we were not reporting our village ordinances. So when there's a retail theft at the mall and we write them on a ticket, that's still a misdemeanor. We weren't reporting it as a crime. So the state police called and said, Broadview and others need to start reporting it correctly. What happens then? Our crime increases. Our arrest also increases. But you will see, or they will see, that our arrest has increased. And when you compare it to the other towns, our ratio is pretty good. However, our ratio on the crime per capita may not be that good because we're a small village. So it's going to look big, but it really isn't. Especially when you look at the comparisons. One of the other type of procedures that we've just changed in the last month or so has been directed patrol. What is directed patrol? That means when the officers come in at their watch, whether it's midnights, whether it's evenings, or whether it's day shift, their watch commander is going to say, I want you to go to this area and give me speed enforcement, seatbelt enforcement, whatever type of enforcement. And now you're going to see the omni-vision of police officers everywhere within the village for 8 hours. And what does that do? Hopefully, not the fact that I'm looking for tickets, but that's going to deter crime. Because these guys that are going to want to come in and do bad things in our town are going to see police officers here, police officers here, police officers there. You guys are calling me, providing me with information, and we are responding. Here I'm going to give you just 2 pictures. In the last 2 weeks, these are 5 or 4 guns that the Broadview Police Department has recovered right here on the street with heroin and cannabis. The state police was in here a couple of weeks ago. They recovered 5 guns as well, and heroin and cannabis. So it's out there. What are we doing? We're going to hit them hard. It's 0 tolerance. And I want to apologize right now if you're going to be one of them that we get a stop sign. I'm sorry, but that's what 0 tolerance is all about.
And this is for you to look at as well.
So we're going to be smarter in how we do things. We're going to hold my supervisors accountable, and we are responding to the needs of the village with the resources that we have. We're down in resources. So we're working together with the board, with the Fire and Police Commission to get some more resources hired, and hopefully we'll get some more people, because we got people that are retiring, people that may go on disability, that may hurt our staffing levels right now. Police Watch. So part of the Police Watch is messages, neighborhood watch, communication. I'm telling you, I get a lot of calls, and I also talk to people here about what's happening in town. We need that. I need that. My guys need that. And I want to congratulate, where's the president at?
Well, President, there he is, right there.
Our community neighborhood watch, Mr. President, so.
Stand up, let him see you.
And to all the officers that were elected. I believe the next neighborhood watch meeting is on August 31st at 6:30.
No,
Good job.
7. We changed it to 7.
Oh, when is it?
7 o'clock.
Okay, 7 o'clock.
Or 7 p.m. right here.
Okay. People constantly ask me about where are we at with our truck enforcement? Are we getting the money from the circuit court? At first it was coming in slow, but we are getting that money from the circuit court. Our truck enforcement officer, remember, he's part-time. He only works once or twice a week. Since we hired him in January, he's brought in $47,000 in fines, and from the circuit court, I think we've already received maybe half of it. So are we going to get the entire 47? No, but at least it's better than 0. And that money is coming in. And I believe I have one more. So part of our lease program, I talked a lot about that. And so we had NATO, and thank God we weren't involved in NATO. We thought we were going to get called, but we weren't. We really didn't have anything to protect our officers. This lethal program, which is from the military, now they have plenty of these left over. This is $100 right here. I ordered, or I acquired 9 of them. It cost me $125 for 9. So it's brand new. It's for the officers, and the officers are there.
Superheroes.
So just to try to eliminate those, whatever they throw. So it's a great program. The police chief and I will take advantage
Fire
of it.
chief?
Well, the fire chief and I will take advantage of it, and it's great for the village. One more thing. The fire chief did talk about our chat with the chiefs. We also, right after that, we did a walk and talk. Walk and talk is he and I. We walked on Roosevelt Road. We talked to the individuals of the commercial area there. And we're gonna do that in the mall. Everywhere there's a commercial, we're gonna try and talk. This is who we are. This is what our numbers are. If you need anything, give us a call. I believe that's it.
Thank you, Chief Tegera. Questions and comments from the board, starting with Trustee Marino.
None.
Trustee Morris.
No.
Trustee McGrail.
Just piggybacking on your comment about the neighborhood watch, Chief, I think it benefits you guys and us as residents when you get multiple calls from residents. And with the increased activity of neighborhood watch, you have the president and secretary here. It should help us greatly in solving some of these crimes.
As a matter of fact, some of these arrests that were made, and when I indicated the state police was here in an overt capacity, they were here in a covert capacity, and then we hit them too for the last 2.5 weeks. Some of the addresses we hit came on information from the town. So we need that information, a constant flow.
That's a great thing. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Trustee McGrail. Trustee Harvey?
No.
Trustee Benson?
No.
Trustee Abraham?
I do have one comment, just from the residents in my area where I live in the Beverly section. Just wanted to thank you because they saw you out driving around the neighborhood. So they just want to thank you again for your service that you're doing for our community.
I got just two things. Number one, I do know that some of the residents were influential with the phone calls as related to the capture of the burglars. But I want you to mention something that you did mention in your presentation, and that's about graffiti. And what's going on and what kind of gangs we got putting up graffiti throughout the town that we're clearing up all the time.
The graffiti we get it's not constant. They tag here and then we don't see it for maybe another month or so and then they tag here. We haven't noticed a consistent in the taggers. So what we do is, whether we get the information from the residents or from Public Works, they take a picture, send it to us, we put that picture in a database. That database will then identify if we've had that type of pattern before or any of the names that's on the tag. If we have not, then that's a new one. The second part of that is we then contact our surrounding police departments, whether it's Maywood, Bellwood, Westchester, Hillside, and see if they've had any information from the tagging. We send it to them. They have their own database. So that's how we develop. We did, from one of them, and I forget where it was at, we identified a name, and we went back to that individual, and that individual denied it. We had no proof that he did it. However, we kind of used strong words in the fact that we do not want him or his group in Broadview. So no arrests have been made. We identified one which we thought may have tagged. He apparently, obviously said he did not, and we haven't had any tagging in that area since our conversation.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk?
Our next village officer, Matt Ames, MFA Construction, Public Works Department.
Mayor, Board of Trustees, residents, good evening. Friday, Monday, we got some bid openings. CBGD resurfacing 14th Avenue from Fillmore Street to the island just north of Roosevelt Road. And we also have a bid opening Monday at 11 a.m. here in the council chambers for the Roosevelt Road water main replacements. Engineers will be on staff for both. I'm going to be present, but I believe Trustee McGrail will also be present. We have concluded our concrete replacement for the year. There will be no more sidewalk replacements. We did have great participation in the 50-50 cost sharing program. We collected a little more than $2,000 from residents that wanted to, if nothing else, use up the front of their homes, the side of their homes. We've got more than $9,000 for reimbursements collected as it relates to insurance claims. I believe hydrants that knocked over some other village property that was damaged. For the residents that live on the north side of Broadview, NICOR's restoration has begun. So they've started putting down sod. And of course, we asked that they delay it, especially during the extreme heat, because we didn't want the homeowners to be responsible for allowing it to take and creating an excessive water bill. I'm also happy to report that all but 2 industrial properties are compliant with a cross connection. So you know we rolled that out back in the early part of 2010, and it's been a painstaking procedure. But
Maybe you need to tell them what the backflow is, or what the program is.
the cross connection,
Because I doesn't think all these people were here.
it's basically to protect the water that's potable. The water that we provide to our residents, our businesses, industrial, commercial, the hospitals. It's basically to make sure that the water that we give to the customers, we don't receive back via water main break. A water main break can reduce the pressure that's in the distribution system to where we'll create back siphonage under the right conditions. It could be deadly, to say the least. I want to read a letter that I received from Metropolitan Water Reclamation, dated August 15th, to Mr. Ames. And the subject is Terry Lane flood control measures. For those of you that live in the Beverly area, 2010 not only pointed out the frailties of our sewer and our water system, but it most certainly highlighted the need for some type of immediate improvement over the Beverly area for those residents that live along the Addison Creek, Salt Creek area. On May 24, 2012, MWRD, which is Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, hosted an informational workshop for contract 11-89 Addison Creek, Higgins Creek, and McDonald Creek stream bank stabilization projects. A portion of this work includes stabilizing the east bank of Addison Creek adjacent to 19th Avenue in the village of North Riverside and rehabilitating several outfalls on the west bank of Addison Creek within the village of Broadview. In attendance at the meeting, and I once again thank Trustee McGreer and Trustee Abraham. I was actually out of town at this scheduled meeting, and I contacted them on a moment's notice. They were able to represent the village of Broadview. And at the conclusion of the stream bank stabilization presentation, they raised the issue of old bank flooding within the neighborhood west of Addison Creek and south of Cermak Road within the village. While the district is planning on installing backflow preventers on the rehabilitated outfalls, flood control measures were not included in the scope of work for the Addison Creek stream bank stabilization program. Basically what they're saying is the waters that's collected in the storm drains is channeled underground. It discharges into Addison Creek. The outfall is basically a structure that prevents the erosion of the riverbank into the river. The discharge pipe is the sewer line that collects the water. And the proposition is that they would put a duct bill, in other words, pretty much like a cross connection. Water flows this way, we don't want it coming back this way, for obvious reasons. However, during the course of the preliminary engineering work for the stabilization project, the district, through detailed survey and analysis, concurred with your reporting observations of overbank flooding in the village and developed a potential alternative to address the issue. The district has prepared a preliminary cost estimate for a levee to protect the west area of Addison Creek and south of Cermak Road during large rainfall events. The levee would potentially be located on private property behind the homes on Terry Lane. The cost of this conceptual project is estimated to be $2.6 million and would require demolition of 31 garages belonging to Terry Lane residents to accommodate the levee. According to the model estimates, damage in the area west of Addison Creek and south of Cermak Road began to occur as a 100-year rainfall event. Property and transportation benefits were calculated to be a little more than $120,000 using the standard methodology employed during the deployment. of Lower Des Plaines Detailed Watershed. The end result is that the conceptual project has a benefit to cost ratio of 0.05%, which is roughly $128,000 to $2.6 million. And the district generally pursues projects that have a benefit to cost ratio of 1.0. So we're well below that threshold, but I think we've gotten the attention of water reclamation with some other issues that we've had here as a result of the flooding. And let me piggyback on the need for not a repair infrastructure, sure, but a replacement infrastructure. From my last report, which was the second week of July to the first week of August, we experienced a water main break every day in some areas of Broadview. And of course, it's documented via the invoices and the photographs. And some were so severe that I actually called some of the board members out to witness exactly what happens, how we mitigate, how we service repair, and the whole 9 yards. So the stress, the importance of water main replacements as opposed to repair cannot be overstated, at least from my experience and my vantage point. I know that there's some misinformation going around for whatever reason. But if in fact you plan to own your home for any significant period of time here in Broadview, an overhaul is necessary. The repair costs, if we do nothing, will continue to rise. I believe when we took office, those repair costs, according to the general ledger, was close to $1 million. By operational changes and doing things just a little bit different, most certainly employing local contractors and educating some of the public works employees and whatnot, we have been able to reduce that cost by 57%. Those are factual numbers. But those numbers, $500,000, $600,000 on an annual basis for repairs, will most certainly increase. And what that does is it takes away from our ability to bond, our bonding capacity. I had a conversation with some of our financial people, and they wanted to know, well, if in fact we started replacing water mains, what would that do with the repair costs? Initially I told them, I said, I didn't think anything within the first year. Having a conversation with the village engineers, that's one of those variables that's kind of hard to pinpoint, just simply because there's so many factors to go into it. But we know one thing for sure. If in fact we do absolutely nothing with our infrastructure, that cost is going to rise. I would also like to point out the crumbling sewer lines. And just recently, of course, thank Trustee Harvard and Trustee McGreer, the two trustees that I was able to get in touch with just on last week. I got a phone call from Water Reclamation, actually from the police department, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And they said that one of the officers from Water Reclamation was in the village and he had a potential hazardous situation. Well, I meet him on site over here in the industrial area, and what apparently had happened was friends of Salt Creek, you know how residents typically they get off work, they like to walk along the riverbanks and some of the bike trails, they noticed a petroleum sheen. So they call Water Reclamation, they send the investigative officer out. What he does is he starts backtracking, trying to figure out exactly where this is coming from. He pinpointed it to an area of Broadview just west of Chase Bank and east of Madison Creek as it bends around going to 25th Avenue, Parks Drive. The following day, myself along with the engineers, the building commissioner, IPA, Water Reclamation, we did a more thorough investigation as now we could see it better. So that night, however, Holmes, which is an absorbent tissue was placed into the storm system to keep any petroleum from further spilling into our Addison Creek. Where we get on site the following day, we do some thorough investigations and we start pinpointing. But to make a long story short, the IPA mandated that the village of Broadview, because they felt that the potential leak or leaching was coming from our sanitary lines. At this particular area, our sanitary and our storm lines are separate. However, they're close enough in proximity to where it raised the concern with the environmental agencies that potentially we've got some crap going into the storm system being discharged. So hence we had a couple trustees out just to witness exactly what that operation was like. We called in United Septic. United Septic is a company that specializes in televising sewer jetting and cleaning and so forth and so on. That bill, I don't know if you guys got it yet, but it turned out to be a little less than $7,000. And Jim, what would you estimate the linear foot? Linear feet for?
If you mark 2,000 feet,
which is about 2 blocks.
Couple blocks, but it was big silver.
And big soup.
One was big.
One was big. And he has a DVD. We have a DVD also down in Public Works of exactly what our sewer lines look like. We did discover that we had some broken tiles, and we had to repair that right away, point of contact repairs. And we also had some other issues in terms of cracking in the tile and so forth and so on. However, there was no leaching from our sanitary into the storm discharge, so the village was able to breathe a sigh of relief simply because we have a MS4 permit with the IPA, and basically that allows us to discharge into the creek just as long as there is no contaminants above the maximum contaminant level being dumped into the creeks. So I only bring that up to highlight once again this seemingly big debate in terms of water rates, the need to do infrastructure improvements and so forth and so on. I'm a taxpaying homeowner, current with my taxes, by the way. And that being said, I do not want to have to pay anything additional like the rest of you all. In fact, I'll tell you what I do that probably most of you are not, and that is underwater on my mortgage. But however, if it means improving the property value for the home that I reside in, to do an infrastructure replacement, to pay a little bit more into my water bill, then I'm all for it. So, that being said, that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee Ames. Questions or comments from the board, starting with Trustee Moreno?
Yes, Mr. Ames, you said that all but 2 of the industrial properties were compliant with the cross connection. Is it just industrial, or are we, where are we at with the commercial properties?
We have not gotten to the commercial.
Okay. Will you be starting with commercial now then, since we're pretty well done with industrial?
We will be starting with commercial.
And then how long do you think it'll be before we start with the residential?
I have no idea. I didn't think it would be 2.5 years in the industrial compliance. So that's one of those things where you can have theory, but until you're actually trying to roll it out and contact business owners that may or may not be in the village, it's a variable.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Morris?
No.
Trustee McGreer?
No questions.
Trustee Benson?
No questions.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Okay, thank you, Director Haynes. Madam Clerk?
Item number 6, communication, we have none. Item number 7, unfinished business. Consideration of a resolution authorizing the donation of personal property for the village of Broadview, county of Cook, state of Illinois.
I make a motion to approve the donation of our surplus personal property.
I second.
Properly motion by trustee Abraham, properly second by trustee McGreer. Trustee Abraham, I believe this is your committee?
Yes, well, with the police department, but it is under public property. They have some computers, and through their LISO program, they were able to secure new and updated computers, and what they want to do is take what they have now and make a donation to our park district. So those arrangements have been made. We do have the resolution to authorize that. Chief, did you want to elaborate any?
Well, I'll elaborate. Just so that everyone knows, because we're a government agency and we purchase these items with taxpayer dollars, we have to literally document what we're doing with them if we're going to be disposing of them and why we're disposing of them and therefore and what so. A few weeks ago, once the chief procured the additional computers, the more updated computers to bring to the village of Broadview, it resulted in us having a surplus of desktop computers. So then it becomes, what can we do with this to make them the most useful for the village of Broadview, for the taxpayers, this, that, and the other. Because we weren't going to use them in the police department, and the fire department had them, and the village has already had them, the chief had offered them to a couple of the other taxing bodies within town. However, there's a process that you must go through to get this done, and he just did not go through the process, which ended up bringing us back to where we are today to actually go through the process to authorize the movement of these computers from one entity to another. And and there was some confusion and probably some hard feelings amongst numerous of individuals, but not knowing the whole story, they only knew the tip of the iceberg. So at this point, we've got, how many computers is it, Chief?
I believe it's that.
We've got 10 computers. And ultimately, we were planning on donating them to our other taxing bodies within the village of Broadview that actually have programs that would allow the tax-paying residents to have access to these computers in a computer lab to actually learn word processing and Excel and some other things that they may need to learn if they haven't learned it. Senior citizens, kids, and other people like that. So that's where we are with this, just so that everyone in the room understands what this computer issue is about. And I believe that's about it. Chief, you got anything to add? Did I miss anything? That's pretty much it. Okay. Questions or comments from the board, starting with Trustee Brown Marino?
No, that's very clear, and I think it's a great idea.
No, I think it's fantastic. Thank you very much. Trustee Morris? No. Trustee McGreer?
None.
Trustee Benson?
None.
And Trustee Abraham? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries for the donations. And we will actually list out later on exactly who got the computers, where they got disseminated to, when we will have that documented for you all, okay? Madam Clerk?
Item number 8, new business, consideration to approve an application for business license for Garland Converting Corporation.
I make a motion to table until the next board meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been motion to table by Trustee Benson and second by Trustee McGreer. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This item will be tabled until the next board meeting. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Item number 9, application for the Authority to Trade Funds, grand total $31,479.91.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We're doing these separately?
Probably could.
I think so. I think it's, I'll entertain an amended motion for the one purchase first.
Mr. Mayor, I amend my motion to make a motion to approve the first. I'm looking for my numbers.
Does everyone have these?
I had it. I second it. Make a motion to approve the first purchase order for in the amount of $29,625 for wow. Give me 1 second.
There it is, right here.
Rochefort.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly motioned by Trustee McGreer and probably second by Trustee Abraham to approve the expenditure of $29,000 to Rochefort. You want to explain that one?
Not a problem.
Because she's not here.
In the amount of $29,625 Rochefort for a 2013 Ford SUV Interceptor vehicle This is for the fire department to replace the old and now dangerous inspector's vehicle that we currently have. And this has been discussed and pre-approved because I looked at the vehicle. I'm sure other trustees have seen the condition that it's in, and we can't have our employees out in that kind of condition. So this is to replace that vehicle.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions or comments from the board? Trustee Brown Marino.
No, I've also seen this vehicle, and it's a very scary vehicle. I'm glad that we are providing a better vehicle for him, and as I've said before, when these things become a priority, we find a way to do it. So I think it's a great thing.
Thank you very much. Trustee Morris. No. Trustee McGreer.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that this vehicle would be purchased through a lease over the course of 3 years. This is in the budget, in the fire department's budget. I've talked to Chief Gardner about it, and we do have the money per our finance director.
Okay, and the lease is $10,000.
$10,456 per year.
Per year, okay.
With a $1 fine.
Right, with a $1, right.
Zero interest loan.
Zero interest loan, they're gonna lease it for 3 years, and we buy it for $1 at the end of the lease. Got it. Trustee Benson?
No.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Benson?
Yes.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee McGreer?
Yes.
Trustee Morris?
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino?
Yes.
Okay, and the motion carries for the purchase of the fire inspector's vehicle. I'll entertain a motion on the other item.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the purchase order for business cards in the amount of $1,854.91.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by Trustee McGreer and properly second by Trustee Abraham. This is your department, Trustee McGreer. You want to tell us what this is?
It is. Now, the description on this is a little bit tricky. This is for 8 reclining chairs for the Public Works Department. And these reclining chairs are utilized in the lounge upstairs in which trainings are held and the guys go on break. And I'm going to tell you, the old chairs that were there have been in use and in existence since I was working at Public Works back in '88. So they were way out of date, broken down. These chairs, Director Ames, I think, got an excellent deal on, almost half of the normal cost, and it's a much needed item.
Okay, Trustee McGreer. Questions or comments from the board, starting with Trustee Brown Marino?
Well, this is an expenditure that I don't agree with. The very definition of reclining chairs with Public Works seems counterintuitive, first of all. I don't doubt that the chairs that are there are probably old and could use to be replaced, but I just can't see spending this kind of money for this right now.
Thank you, Trustee Brown Marino. Trustee Moore.
And I'm sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
one other thing I wanted to say is that I would have appreciated something more than just the kind of cryptic description that we got. Normally, we would have some sort of invoice or catalog page or something that would give us a better indication, you know, of exactly what it is that we're doing and what this extended warranty is, because I don't understand the idea of having to have an extended warranty with a chair. That just doesn't seem to make sense to me either, unless there's some sort of vibrating, you know, there's something, no, I mean, seriously, unless there's something mechanical about the chair, I don't understand why we would need an extended warranty. So if we had had some sort of better description, something like that, it would have been helpful.
So noted, Trustee Brown Marino. Trustee Morris? No comment. Trustee McGreer?
No comment.
No comment.
No.
Trustee Benson? No comment?
No.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Well, I got a comment.
May I have order, please?
I do have a comment, and you know, Judy Brown Marino and I very seldom see eye to eye on too much of anything. Anybody that knows us knows that. But we happen to be on the same page with this one. You know, I'm not in approval of this particular expenditure myself. I think it's extravagant for the purpose that it's intended. I think that probably folding chairs or stacking chairs would have been a better replacement. So it's not something that I would sign off on personally. You know, and to Trustee Marino's point, I don't see any pictures. I don't see a contract. There's a lot of things that are errant here. So, you know, that's just my 2 cents. But we're going to have to vote on it because the motion's on the table right now. And I'm going to put that to the clerk. But just so that you all know, that's where I stand. So, Madam Clerk, I'll entertain a roll call on this one.
Trustee Abraham?
No.
Trustee Gibson?
No.
Trustee McGrail?
Yes.
Trustee Morris?
No.
Trustee Brown Marino?
No.
Okay, and the motion fails to pay for that by a vote of 4-1.
Item number 10. Committee report. Building and public property. Trustee Abraham?
Good evening, residents. I have a few items with some of our department heads I've met with over the past few weeks. From our collector, as you heard earlier in the evening from our finance director, she said we had collected $8,000 regarding the vehicle stickers. And speaking to our collector, we have an 89% sale. They had purchased 5,500 vehicle stickers, and we've sold currently right now 4,896. So obviously we want to thank the residents for participating in this program, and they range from motorcycles to passenger cars. We've collected late fees because obviously it's past the time, so now it's a doubling of the fee. We had senior discount rates available as well. Also, she wanted me to make a comment on from the water billing department. We do have electronic payment. It's called ePay, and you can go to www.illinoiseepay.com. She does have flyers at the window how to use that, and then there was a little tip there how to reduce your monthly water bill by conserving water. She said you can make simple improvements such as fixing water leaks. So that was that on that. In meeting with the chiefs, I was able to meet with some of our department heads, Chief Tagara, Chief Gardner, as well as Commissioner Upshaw regarding our inventory supply of vehicles. What we did is we did a walkthrough and a tour, so I was able to see what vehicles we had that were still able to be in service and what was going to be taken out of service. So right now we're just deciding how we're going to move ahead with that, because I know the building department with Commissioner Upshaw is looking to obviously upgrade his vehicles as well. And as he commented with Chief Gardner, you could see that our fire inspector's vehicle is being replaced. It's obviously was, I believe, 20 years on that. Yes. Am I correct on that? Yep. 20 years. So if you've seen it, you know the condition it was in, so this is obviously a better situation. And the vehicles that we want to put our officers in, from our fire department to our police department, as well as our building department and even public works, is we want to make sure they're safe. They're operational, and they're safe for them to be on the road with, because again, these are valuable employees that we have with our community. So just wanted to let you know on that. Another thing with our police cars, and this was a joint effort with the fire department, is they're going to have medical kits in all the police vehicles, so that our patrolmen can be, as a first responder, can also assess the situation and do basic first aid. They will be taking classes, from my understanding, gentlemen, to be certified just to do basic first aid before our paramedics get to a scene. So again, another joint effort between our police and fire. Also, under building department, with Commissioner Upshaw, I had a meeting with him. We have a property located at Fillmore and 17th Avenue. We've been receiving inquiries to purchase that particular property, so you know where that's located at. The fire department did some training on it, and it has been leveled, and it's ready to be set up to be for sale. So again, we are getting inquiries on that. We also had a situation from different residents that we've heard from, either after a village board meeting, or they filled out, or they contacted Commissioner Upshaw. And this is something we want to let you know, and the police department talks about it when they do public speaking about scams with contractors. When you have work done, and we've talked about this from the time I've taken office a year ago, is please call the building department. See if it's a permitted work they have to do, okay? These contractors have to go through a process. They have to be registered here in the village, they have to show liability, they have to show insurance, they have to show that they've done work in this community, okay? The other thing is that we're now telling residents, and we're suggesting to them, is that, so they don't run into situations, is before they make that final payment of the work they've contracted have done, please call Commissioner Upshaw. They'll set up an appointment, they'll come out, and they'll see to make sure that these people follow the procedure. I mean, I, as a homeowner, okay, wants to make sure to do the job right the first time. So if it's a phone call, don't pay that last payment until our building department has a chance, our inspector has a chance to come out to make sure these people did good quality work. We're getting too many complaints coming to us now saying, well, they did this work, but the contractor's gone. You know, and that's putting a liability on you that's an added expense if you have to get it repaired or replaced, you know, and again, you got to read through these contracts, what they're saying they're going to do, okay? We keep Commissioner Upshaw keeps very good track of who comes in, what they're going to do, what kind of work they're doing on your property, because that's what the contractor's asking for, okay? So please, just make a quick phone call to this office. They'll be more than willing to help you out on that. Also, he wanted me to comment on Nightcore, and I know, I don't see our Director Ames, he made a mention that Nightcore's still out here doing work. Another situation is this, is if you see them leaving anything, garbage, refuse, please call the Public Works Department as well as the Building Department so they can address that. We don't want them coming into our community, leaving a mess, and then leaving it for the residents. They are responsible for their work sites. So again, just please reach out to them. And that's the end of my report, sir.
Thank you, Trustee Abraham. Madam Clerk.
Our next committee report is Business Committee, Trustee Benson.
Evening, everyone. Real quick, the questionnaires that the Economic Development Committee put together, those questionnaires were in the last newsletter. And also, if you go on the website, they are on the website. Please continue to fill them out. I'm still getting them. I'm still collecting them. So if you did not do a questionnaire and you're here tonight, please do go on the website. Let me know. I'll get you a newsletter if we have any left. Next thing. Mr. Upshaw, Commissioner, did talk about foreclosure prevention. And just to piggyback on that, because I just got it in my mail, there will be a foreclosure prevention and intervention help workshop free. It is Saturday, September 8th at the Proviso Township Town Hall at 4565 Harrison Street in Hillside, between 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And you can get all types of help. So if you need more information on that, I do have a flyer and can make a copy of this for you so that you can take it with you. The last comment that I do have for you all actually is coming from Trustee Abraham, but because I'm businesses, she pushed it over to me. But what it is I guess Aldi has extended their time open until 9 p.m. and I guess it's 7 p.m. on the weekends. So if you do shop Aldi, 9 p.m. they have extended their time till. And that will complete my report for tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Benson.
Our next committee report, Fire, Police, and Civil Service, Trustee Hardy.
Do we have anything for the fire? Anybody on that committee?
Yeah, I'm on it, but I don't have anything for it.
Okay, no report.
Our next committee report, Street, Sidewalks, and Alley, Trustee McGreer.
I have no report really, but I do want to mention on the fire committee, I do see the lights for the ambulance, so everyone, when you walk out, make sure you do view the new ambulance that is being inspected and being put into operation, as Chief Garter mentioned earlier. That concludes mine.
Thank you, Trustee McGreer.
Our next committee report, Finance Committee, Trustee Morris.
I just got a comment. I was just writing this down as we were speaking. I think that we need to change the way that we do this here. When the department heads speak, then we should have the next week. Like when they speak, when we speak next week, they don't say anything. So, you know, we should be like that because this is getting to be monotonous. We talking about, and then if I took time to write down what I'm saying to you, I can just make some copies and put it on the back table. Because people come in and say, hey, you got anything on the back table? We can just read it instead of you having to come up to me when it's over and say, hey, can I get a copy of that? Can I get, just make a copy of it, put it in the back, let them get it. So next week, we'll speak, they won't. Then the next week, we'll speak. So,
Well, I just got it in my mailbox.
I understand, but
So
I'm
calm
just
down.
saying.
Calm down.
It's getting to be, we making this meeting long. It don't have to be. That's the end of my statement.
I thought I was
Thank-
pretty quick.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna show you what's quick, no report.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Morris. Madam Clerk?
Well, for those of you who couldn't hear, she just announced the Water Drainage and Health Committee. I'd like to just take a quick second to say that the calls that went out were made by me as a private citizen. I made a point of saying that in the recording. The phone numbers were a list of registered voters' telephone numbers from a voter database, and I did receive a couple.
Excuse me. Yes, sir.
Councilwoman, that is not relevant to the report at hand. Your actions with regard to a roll call, with regard to a petition circulating.
As a private citizen.
No, I'm actually responding to the public comments.
That's my job.
But how would you know to respond?
Because the comments from the public are directed to the chair, not to the board.
Exactly.
So you're telling me I can't speak about this at all?
I'm saying your comments should be limited to a report on your committee.
And that's
Right,
what I'm going to be talking about.
which is the Water Drainage and Health Committee. All right. At the last board meeting, I made mention about the garbage fund, which does fall under Water Drainage and Health. Our garbage fund for this year, the budget that was just passed, is projecting $198,000 excess. And I had made the comment at the time, and I know there are some people here that have been affected by this, that I wanted to ask our village attorneys to create an ordinance or a resolution, whichever is appropriate, so that we can reconsider what we are charging for the multifamily properties. Because right now we're making a profit of $4 per unit per month for each of these multifamily properties, which includes not only the apartment buildings, but also the condos and I believe the co-ops are included. No, the co-ops are not included, I'm sorry. At any rate, I hadn't heard anything from the village attorney, and I admit that I had been busy with other things that I'm not allowed to speak about, and therefore I did not follow up with the village attorney.
The village attorney's office will do as directed by the board of trustees. If we're directed to make a change, to present an ordinance making a change in any fee or fine schedule, we'll do so. We have not been directed to do so at this point, and one trustee does not have the ability to direct our office to do something.
Well, that's interesting, because the board has not directed you to do any of the rest of the ordinances and resolutions. So I'm not sure where you're getting your direction from, but I was
We get it
asking.
from the president of the board, who approves all legislation to be presented to the board.
Then I will try my best to see if I can actually speak with the president and move forward with that. So I just want to let everyone know. And apparently that's all I'm allowed to report about this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Marino. Madam Clerk?
Yes, I have just a brief, not announcement, but since it was brought to my attention with the agenda, and I want to bring it to the residents' attention, tonight's agenda on item number 9. I think one of the residents had made a comment, but I'm not commenting about what she said. I'm commenting about the agenda that the residents have. On number 9, it says business cards, $1,854.91, and it has the Roach Ford. I want to follow up with the finance department and stuff, because this is not a typo. And reading this and looking at the purchase order is totally different from some purchase orders for public works chairs compared to business cards. This is the information that I received, and as I received the information from the attorneys and also from the finance department, I transferred it to this agenda. I want to apologize to the residents that this was so misleading tonight under number 9 for purchase orders. It was not business cards. And as I see, they were purchase orders for chairs. So I wanted to point that out also. And that concludes my report. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for the record, you're absolutely correct, okay, and I get it. Several things, I'm gonna try to be as brief as I possibly can. I know that there's a lot of people here that got a lot of concerns, especially as it relates to things that are being circulated throughout town, rumors and innuendos and allegations and things of that nature. First of all, to Trustee Morris's point about the length of our meetings. Every 2 weeks, the committee chairs are supposed to be giving committee reports. It should not be a platform to have a long, detailed discussion. That should be in the body of the meeting when each department gives their presentations. And the chairs of each committee should be talking specifically about their committees. If they didn't have a committee meeting and there's nothing going on in the committee, there should be no report. Okay? If we got new businesses, that should have been presented by Commissioner Upshaw. And that's a fallacy and the fault of the board here, and probably my fault too. And I'll take responsibility for that. But I've already directed them that they should reduce their comments to 3 minutes. So having said that, we're going to move on to the next topic. The donation of the surplus property was a big to-do for me, because I think it's going to provide a lot of access to these computers through the computer lab at both the library and the Park District. And I commend the chiefs, both chiefs, for their active pursuit of the LESO program that has provided us numerous things free of charge. And so the village hasn't had to spend tax dollars to get desktop computers, the new, what are they, the 2 Hummers that we got, one for the command center and one for special units in the police department. So I commend them for getting those. The other thing is, as it relates to business development, you got a new business on Roosevelt Road, the restaurant. I suggest you all partake of it. It's a nice breakfast restaurant over there. And moving on, I've had a lot of comments from the residents about sidewalks and sidewalk replacement and the 50-50 program that we have. Just so that you all know, there's a pecking order on which sidewalks we do first. Those sidewalks that are actually trip areas where the concrete is uneven will take priority over a concrete that's got a chip on the corner or a couple of peck marks in it, you know. So we're going to go and get the ones that have the uneven surface first, and then we're going to come back to all the rest of them. And so it's a process. So, you know, that needed to be said. Moving on, I want to talk about the garbage fund that was just mentioned and the $198,000 surplus. When we got into office, we renegotiated our contract with Root. And because of our renegotiation of the contract, it allowed us to create an excess. That excess is to be used for certain things. And I'll let the attorney speak about what that can be used for. But the whole purpose of this is to provide services for you all as it relates to cleaning up your alleys, cleaning up your streets, replacing your streets, and other things of that nature. The concern that I have is that the people in the room here and many other people throughout town are not aware of exactly all the details about what we're trying to do. We tried to put as much information out in the village bulletin as possible, and some of you read it and some of you don't. Some of you may have read it and not understood. And what we did was take into account what we could pay for as it relates to the replacement of our water mains, our storm drains, and our sanitation lines. The whole project, when it was presented to me in numerous meetings, would cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $75 to $80 million. Am I correct in that estimate, Jim? Village engineer Goomis was there. Mr. Ray Coyne, who's the bond underwriter, was there. And they contributed to the information that was put out in your village bulletin about a month ago. The information was put out by them, and I asked for their input because they are professionals in their field, and they're highly regarded and highly respected at what they do. And that's why I asked them to get involved to give the information to the public. What we're trying to do right now will have absolutely, positively no impact on your water bills. It's not going to increase them, because what we did was we pared it back from the $75 to $80 million project to $12 million. And it's a process in going through saying that we want to do this because we can actually fund it. And I know that Ray has the figures, and that's what his background is. So for us to be listening to certain information that is not absolutely positively concrete, and to go run off and just believe what somebody told you without getting the other side of the story, you know, I feel bad for that, for those of you that have heard one side of the story without hearing the other side. There were some comments made earlier tonight. Marquita Smith, you asked about the foreclosed properties and about the posting of the signs. I think Dave addressed it partially. But if you guys find vacant property where there's overgrowth or whatever, please notify the village. We will come out, we will inspect the property, we will find out who the owner is. And there's a process for those properties too. We must notify them, and we must give them a 30-day window to act on the property. Correct it, cut the grass, do whatever they have to do. At the end of the 30-day period, if they don't do it, then we take it over and we put a lien against the property and we charge them back for our services that we expend, because we want to keep the neighborhood clean. So we will go out there and cut the grass, and we will make sure that the property is maintained, but we have to give the owner an opportunity to do that first. So there is a process. So if you guys saying we can't be everywhere, they're not all over town, you know, there's not that many of them. So if you find those properties, please let us know. John Lely talked about his water bill and the newsletter not prepared by our financial people. Our financial people were actually in the meeting. The budget officer was involved in some of the meetings, so was the finance director. While they didn't prepare the actual language that went into the village bulletin, they were contributing factors to that. And I don't know that the information that you all have been given in robocalls or in any other type of literature was created by our finance director or any other of our finance people for that matter. Of course not. Just the ramblings of an individual. Because I posed a question to them already. And each one of them have denied, saying that your water bills will triple, or that companies would move out of town, or that the bond would have any impact on any of your bills. I also had a question or a comment about the water bills fluctuating $20 to $30. Some people experiencing a spike in a water bill from 1 month as opposed to the 2 or 3 previous months. Well, there's a process for that. If in fact you have a bill that seems extravagant or enormous, please contact the village, and here's how the process goes. You contact the village, you notify the village collector. The village collector then pulls up your history to see what your history is. And if it looks like you've got a spike, which obviously it would show if you've got a spike in your bill, then she will contact Public Works. He's sitting in the back. Step up, sir. Stand up for a minute. Wesley. Wesley is one of your readers in town. And the comment to me today, Wesley, was that they think that we're just riding down the street estimating their bills. Would you tell them what the process is, since I have you here?
That is not true. Actually, the process is
Once they tell you to go out and read, or when you read on your route, tell them what you do.
That will be considered a reread.
A reread?
Yes.
When we call you back?
When someone says they have a spike in a water bill, we will come out, we get a sheet that has a previous read and a current read, and then we'll go out and actually physically read the meter.
As opposed to using a gun?
Exactly. So, visual.
Inside and outside?
Both of the meters, correct.
Do we check for leaks? If they continue to make a complaint, have we checked for leaks because the people believe that there's something else wrong?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the point. The point that I'm trying to make to you all is this. If you let us know that you're having a problem with your water bill and it spikes for some reason, we will come out and we will take a look to make sure. And that pretty much completes my comment. I want to make note of the fact that This represents $122,000 for the city community development block program, which right now is limited to Roosevelt Road to the expressway between 13th and 17th. We do believe that other areas of the village will qualify after all the census returns are in, and that's based on the per capita income in the neighborhood where the work is going to be done. We have an executive session tonight. We're going to be talking about a couple of different things in our executive session. Hopefully it'll be brief. You guys are welcome to stick around until we get done with the executive session, and we will be back after the executive session. With that, I'll entertain I'll entertain a motion to suspend the regular board meeting and adjourn to executive session.
I make a motion that we